Daniel loved old things. He loved the way they felt in his hands. He loved the stories they told. One humid Saturday, he stumbled upon a dusty antique shop tucked away on a side street. The air inside was thick with the smell of old wood and something else, something unsettling. He ran his fingers along a shelf crowded with tarnished silver. A shiver ran down his spine. Why did this place feel so cold? The back of the shop was shrouded in shadows. Daniel, drawn by an unknown force, wandered towards the darkness. There, on a pedestal, sat a plain wooden box. It was small and unassuming, yet it drew his gaze like a magnet. He reached out, his fingers tracing the aged wood. There was an inscription on the top, but the language was one he didn't recognize. "Can I help you with something, son?" A raspy voice startled him. Daniel turned to see an old man with eyes as dark as the box itself. His gaze sent chills down Daniel's spine. "Just looking," Daniel mumbled, his hand lingering on the box. "What is this?" The shopkeeper's face hardened. "That," he rasped, leaning closer, "is a Dybbuk box, and I suggest you don't touch it." Daniel drew back his hand as if burned. "A what?" "A Dybbuk box," the shopkeeper repeated, his voice a low hiss. "It is said to hold a restless spirit, a malicious entity trapped between worlds." Daniel tried to laugh, but it came out as a nervous cough. "You don't believe in ghosts, do you?" The shopkeeper's gaze was intense. "Believe what you will," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "But be warned, some things are best left undisturbed." Daniel, feeling a strange pull towards the box, brushed off the shopkeeper's warning. It was just a story, he told himself. An old man's tale. He decided to buy it, convinced it would make a unique addition to his collection. Back at his apartment, Daniel placed the box on his kitchen table. The air, he noted, felt colder. He dismissed it as his imagination. He examined the box again. It was plain, unadorned except for the strange inscription. He ran his fingers over the inscription again, feeling a slight vibration. He pulled his hand back in surprise. Curiosity gnawed at him. What was inside? Was it truly a Dybbuk box, as the shopkeeper had called it? He knew he should leave it alone, but the pull he felt was too strong to resist. He had to know. With trembling hands, Daniel lifted the lid of the box. A cold gust of air hit him, and the room plunged into an unnatural darkness. He could have sworn he heard a whisper, cold and menacing, brush past his ear. His blood ran cold. Section 4. A presence in the dark. The air grew heavy, suffocating. Daniel struggled to breathe. The shadows in the room seemed to deepen, twisting and writhing as if alive. He heard a scratching sound coming from inside the box, slow and deliberate. Panic welled up inside him. Suddenly the lights in his apartment flickered and died, plunging him into absolute darkness. A cold dread gripped his heart. He fumbled for his phone, his hand shaking uncontrollably. As he clicked the flashlight on, he saw it. A figure standing across the room. It was tall and skeletal, its eyes two hollow sockets in the darkness. A gasp of terror escaped Daniel's lips. He wanted to scream, to run, but his body was frozen in fear. The figure glided towards him, its hollow eyes boring into his soul. Section 5. A descent into madness. Daniel's life became a waking nightmare. The temperature in his apartment was always freezing. The lights flickered constantly. Objects moved on their own. Scratches, deep and vicious, appeared on the walls overnight. He was tormented by terrifying visions, glimpses of unimaginable horrors that left him gasping for air. He tried to get rid of the box. He tried to throw it away, to burn it, but it always reappeared in his apartment as if by magic. He was trapped, tethered to the box and the entity it had unleashed. He was losing his mind. Sleep offered no escape. His dreams were haunted by the skeletal figure with the hollow eyes. It whispered to him in his sleep, its voice a chilling rasp that promised pain and suffering. He would wake up in a cold sweat, his heart pounding in his chest. Section 6. Vanished. Desperate, Daniel returned to the antique shop. He had to get rid of the box. to break free from the curse that plagued him, but when he arrived at the address, his heart sank. The shop was gone. He searched the street, frantic, but there was no sign of the antique shop, the shopkeeper, or the Dybbuk Box's origin. It was as if it had never existed. Daniel was truly alone. He collapsed on the sidewalk, despair washing over him. He was trapped with the entity, bound to it forever. As he looked up at the empty street, a cold wind blew past him, carrying with it the whisper of a voice. "You are mine now," it hissed, sending shivers down his spine. Daniel knew the Dybbuk had found its new host.